Speaking of banks, the Apex banks in Nigeria at the 12th Bankers Committee retreat with the theme Building Resilience for Economic Growth. Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele gave a speech where he called on the brainstorming session to critically review Nigeria's economy in an effort to strengthen and reposition Nigeria for unforeseen challenges. Among a number of critical points, the governor of the central bank stressed how the central bank had deployed more than 3.5 trillion naira to support critical sectors of the Nigerian economy. He also emphasized the need for businesses to gain access to cheap finance to further their endeavors.
What most people who genuinely have business ideas that they want to turn into prosperity, what they will tell you acts as one of their impediments towards achieving their goals is access to finance. It is just not about access to finance, but access to cheap finance. And I'm happy that through the instrumentality of some of the policies that we have put in place in the recent years, that we have seen a situation where interest rates on loans, particularly for those sectors that we consider to be priority sectors that will drive growth of our economy, that those interest rates on those loans are delivered at single-digit rate. That people can today also boast and say that they want long-term finance, and they truly are able to access long-term finance of 10 years tenure with about 2 years moratorium and a single-digit interest rate not more than 9%. I must say this has been achieved as a result of the support and ingenuity all of you that are here today.
All right. Now, from the Central Bank of Nigeria and the critical sectors of the economy, telecoms is one of them. And we've had a big week with, of course, the big news yesterday about the more than $500 million that the federal government earned from auctioning 5G to two particular telecommunications companies. Now, one of them is MTN Nigeria. Mafab Communications was the other. MTN Nigeria's share offer closed today, where it offered shares to the retail sector of the economy. We have, of course, with us Mr. Johnson Chuckwu, CEO of Cowry Asset Management, to talk us through a very interesting week for the telecommunications giants. Mr. Johnson Chuckwu, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Big week for MTN Nigeria, but I do want to start with that share offer that closed today. What are you hearing on the market, on the streets, with respect to retail investors about the MTN offer?
Thank you, Lotus, for having me. The MTN offer has created a lot of excitement in the market. We've seen retail investors jump into it or jump at it. For us, we're getting calls. We're getting calls from all over the country, people who want to buy MTN shares. So I suspect that the MTN shares, the retail end offer will be highly oversubscribed. The figures we saw through our institution, the volume of bids that went in through us is quite humongous. And I want to believe that may have been repeated in several other houses. So we've seen a reawakening of retail investors' interest in the Nigerian equity market, particularly in initial public offer due to the MTN's offer. And we also know that information available at our disposal indicates that the corporate offer was also oversubscribed. Of course, we have a lot of things good going for MTN. You just mentioned in your introduction that MTN won one of the 5G licenses. Beyond the fact that just a couple of weeks ago, he won CBN's approval as a payment service bank. And it's the largest operator in the economy. So we've seen a lot of excitement, and that has presented itself in the form of the volume of subscription you're going to see, or the level of interest in terms of subscription that the offer that closed today.
Excellent stuff. Thank you so much. Yes, lots going for MTN this week. Can you talk to us about the IPO market in general and what your outlook is, what you're expected to drive more initial offers into the Nigerian bourse?
Well, I think the first thing that we've seen is that any good offer that comes into the market will attract interest. I mean, nobody could have imagined that the level of interest we've seen in MTN was still available in the market. So I believe this will set the tune for other institutions, particularly in those critical sectors of the economy. Look at the telecommunications sector, which accounts about 14% of the GDP. So with about 14%, 14.3% of the GDP being accounted by the telecommunications sector, now we have seen that being represented in the boss. We also expect several other sectors will also be represented. Hopefully, with the passage of the Petroleum Industry Act, the major oil majors, particularly the oil E&P companies, oil exploration and production companies, can also be listed because that's also a critical segment of the economy. The formalization of the economy will also possibly lead to the listing of the trade sector. But what we've seen is that a good offer comes to the market, it triggers, it generates investors' interest, and it goes beyond what we could have imagined. I mean, this is the kind of interest we saw in the 2008, 2007 era, and that we are now seeing being replayed by the level of interest in MTN. So I want to believe that, having set the tune, we should see a lot of other corporate Nigeria come to the market to offer initial public offers of their shares.
Excellent stuff. Thank you, sir. Now, post-offer, what should retail investors focus more on as far as investing in MTN Nigeria? Price appreciation or capital appreciation or dividends or both?
Well, I think if you look at the growth trajectory of MTN, one can say is still at the growth phase because it has a lot of investment it has to make. He just won the 5G license where he needs to pay $273.6 million. That will require funding. He just got his payment service bank. That will require funding. The rollout of 5G network across the economy will also require funding. So investors should prepare that what they will gain in the meantime should be capital gain. I don't think MTN can afford a very bullish dividend payout given its need for capital injection. So you can't go to the investors and say, okay, we're paying dividend. The next minute, he comes back to them and say, we're making right offers or asking for new capital injection. Particularly, remember that when you pay dividend, the dividend is taxed in the hand of the investors or the shareholders. So shareholders should be content with getting capital gain for now. And as it stands today, even the public offer price of 169 naira per share is far below the market price. The closing market price of 186 naira per share, which means even investors who are bought in those shares are already locking in or have some notional capital gain. So I think that the way they have to play the game for now, until the company gets to maturity or maturization where it does not have a compelling need for additional capital investment, then it will change its dividend policy to an aggressive dividend policy. But now it should have a conservative dividend policy that will allow it to re-inject capital into the company.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Do stick around with us, Mr. Johnson Chuckwu, CEO of Cowry Asset Management. We'll continue the conversation after the break. It is the Arise Exchange on Arise News. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. It is the Arise Exchange. I'm Rodi Sodiri, and we continue our conversation with Mr. Johnson Chuckwu, CEO of Cowry Asset Management. Thank you so much for sticking around with us, sir. Now, I want to ask you about giving us your investment case for the 3.5 gigahertz of spectrum auction that was conducted yesterday by the Nigerian Communications Commission.
We have to recognize the fact that the 5G spectrum is actually the next big thing that will happen in the telecommunications sector. In fact, that's the next big thing to happen in that sector. Of course, we've seen situation where there are only two winners. What that means is that you have some level of market monopoly or duopoly. With MTN already having a network, MAFAB does not have a network, so he has to either partner with an existing network, but MTN has existing network. Beyond that, MTN is the biggest operator in that market, in the telecommunications sector in the country. So the rollout of 5G will ensure that its data income will explode. As it stands today, you observe that the telco companies in the country have been growing their data income from data against income from voice. So with a 5G, which will give you a possible download speed of as much as 20 gigabytes per second, and an upload speed of as much as 10 gigabytes per second. A lot of Nigerian youths, not just Nigerian youths, will certainly embrace the services of MTN and any other person who has that service. And as it stands today, you should see multiple growth in their revenue, which will dovetail into increase in their bottom line, that's in terms of profit. So it's no brainer as it stands today that MTN has gotten one of the best, most treasured spectrum in the world by getting the 5G license. And I want to believe that anybody who is investing in the company stock today can actually clearly see where the future would lead you to. But beyond that, we've also seen a virtual migration from physical engagement to virtual engagement. So, and this will ride on telecommunications services, particularly broadband services. Like I'd already mentioned, the capabilities of 5G. So, you are going to see virtually all services. Today, I'm operating from my office. I'm doing this entire from my office. I'm riding on broadband access. And 5G gives you broadband access that it will elevate the Internet of things in this country to the point that we've not seen before. So if you ask me on the investment case, I think it speaks for itself. And MTN and MAFAB have gotten it right. I don't know if in future NCC will have to further auction other spectrum. But as it stands today, investment in MTN is clearly what I may call an appropriate investment. I don't want to be very,
Too bullish?
how do I put it? Yeah, not really bullish. I'm bullish in MTN, but I don't want to be be patronizing. To be patronizing in presenting their case, but they have a strong investment case.
Great stuff. So if I was to ask if the market should be interested in what just took place yesterday in the 5G auction and the deployment, your investment case that you've put forward would be the reason for why they should be interested.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, the fact that the price did not move up today is because investors are still scrambling for the retail offer. As it stands today, like I said, the retail offer is at 169, the market price is at 186. So investors are looking at that already existing capital gain or spread between the market price and the discounted public offer price. So they would rather go for the discounted offer price for now. So, but when the offer closes, I think the market will adjust to current opportunities that the stock presents. And I see a further appreciation in their stock.
Great stuff. Now, as far as investors are concerned, I don't know how should I characterize this? Should investors weigh this auction as something that MTN won, but Airtel lost since they dropped out?
You know, when I looked at the point where Airtel dropped out at the 11th auction at a price of at an auction price of $270 million, when the winning auction was only $273.6 million, just $3.6 million difference. I actually felt for them because if only they had the gift of clairvoyance and could see the future, I'm sure they would have put that $3.6 million to be a part of one of the winners. Because as it stands today, it's going to be a game changer in the competition landscape. With 5G rollout, if you look at the speed of the services, they're going to outcompete the ISP, that's internet service providers, because you wouldn't need internet service providers to have a local area network in your place with 5G. So for anybody who is a major competitor in the market to lose out at this point, but I think what they will do is obviously go back and see if they can find a way of tying up with MAFAB, either buy MAFAB or buy the license from them, or go into some kind of relationship with them. Otherwise, Airtel might, in the medium to long term, lose ground in terms of data services once MTN launches its 5G network.
All right. And as far as the telco sector is concerned as a whole, what's your outlook for 2022?
My take is that the opportunity in that sector is going to continue to expand. I had mentioned earlier that as it stands today, virtually all services are running on telecommunication backbone. You know, in European countries, telecommunication service is now considered as one of the critical infrastructural supply the government must make sure it's available and efficient. So today, virtually, you can do virtually nothing without without leveraging on telecommunication services. So I think that will continue to grow. People adoption of technology will continue to expand. Usage and penetration will continue to expand. And we have a population of 200 million people. We have more than 100 million active lines, more than 60, 70 million data connected to data services. I want to believe that will further expand. Remember, if you look at the demography of this country, more than 42% of our population are quite young, and they will embrace technology at any time. But most importantly, we've seen COVID push us to a new normal, where telecommunication service backbone have become the major critical tool for commercial and social engagement. So the prospects for the telco companies industry is quite strong in the coming year.
Excellent stuff. Mr. Johnson Chuckwu, CEO of Cowry Asset Management, we appreciate you coming on to talk to us about the 5G auction, the MTN share offer, and the outlook on the telecommunications sector. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate your insights.